Hello, everyone. I'm jennyb, and I'm an astrologer and an energy healer. I work with the vibration of Archangel Metatron. How is everyone doing today? I was thinking about what we were going to talk about in the video, kind of reaching out to Metatron and saying, what are we going to call this? And he said, the time has come. So, we know we're in this huge shift, right, for everybody. We're wrapping up big cycles, karmic cycles, and getting ready to head down a new path of light and laughter, he's saying, and he's lightening the mood, he's saying, for everybody today. So we're going to talk about the full moon that we have coming in Capricorn and the solstice as well. Remember, like when we have the solstice and the eclipses and all, we're not like having a different gateway every few days. This is the same gateway. It's just that all of these vibrations are feeding into it. And the gateways, I don't have my Ankh with me outside, but the Ankh is a gateway. And what it looks like on the earth when you see it with your third eye is the Ankhs are like staked into the ground, and they go on, and like, I don't know, it's not like the Ankhs are right next to each other. There's a long space, and they reach out and touch the next. They're all connected, and they're all on fire. It's like a ring of fire around the circular part of the Ankh, and then where they're connecting, like we have this one, like where the little arms are. They're all connecting, and they're all on fire. And so he's saying it's a glorious gateway to change. And this year, of course, is governed by the energy of the Saturn-Uranus squares. So we have a full moon in Capricorn just a few days after the solstice, and the charts are pretty similar. Saturn in Capricorn, of course, is ruled by Saturn. Saturn is in his traditional home of Aquarius, Uranus being the modern ruler of Aquarius, and they are square, meaning there's shifting sands, structures, things that we have grown accustomed to, ways that we're used to thinking are changing. And at the same time that this is happening, Jupiter right now today is he's kind of like still ticking along. He's getting ready to station and then go into his retrograde period the day of the solstice as well. Jupiter, that would be like, how much faith do you have in yourself, or what are you, Metatron is saying, what have you put stock in and had faith in that now is going away? Also in this energy, of course, Pluto being in Capricorn as well, at the end of Capricorn, we're losing, like we're finishing, not losing, but kind of like we've had a burden or commitments to fulfill contracts, like because of legacy, like family, long time ago family, our roots, like where we come from, of course, Cancer, the moon, those things are falling away too. So as I was drifting off to sleep a couple of nights ago, I was seeing, it's hard to describe, but I saw like two different countries. They were in the form of a tower, and it wasn't the country. It was like what you would associate with the country. They were crumbling, and I thought to myself, like, oh, that's a tower crumbling. And then the third one came, and for me, that just happened to be Denmark. I know that there's, ancestral connection with that, and they were crumbling like a tower, but in a good way. It wasn't anything negative, and I know exactly for me what that story is about. And with Saturn, what you want to let go of during the Saturn-Uranus squares is the perfectionism, because that's a man-made concept. There is no standard of perfection that we're trying to live up to. Guilt, resentment, replacing guilt with grace. Uranus and Taurus is how much do you love yourself? How much love, he's saying, do you show yourself? Can you take a compliment? Can you just accept a compliment? Or is that a lack of humility if you allow yourself to feel good about yourself? Neptune and Pisces, where we martyr ourselves. And in a lot of instances, as reflected in the astrology, we've come in with contracts to serve each other in a way that is not beneficial for ourselves or for the person. And then there's a resentment attached there when we agree to, suffer for a cause, he's saying. Some man-made belief or story that we should be repentant and always be committed to making up for the past. And that robs us of the ability to create the future, Uranus, the future. And so we're just really like letting old stories of tradition, the religious spirituality that, there's something outside of you called God that you need to sacrifice for and live up to in order to, please, can I have something from you? Uranus and Taurus, new ways of holding ourselves accountable, not the same old way. Taurus likes stasis. He likes slow movement, and Uranus does not. So it's really changing the vibration of the love that we feel for ourselves within ourselves. And that, of course, goes to Taurus, the physical body. And we have the number 3, the time for the full moon in Capricorn. For everybody, pretty much, Australia is going to be on the 25th, but it is the 24th. It's hard out here with lighting. That's one thing, and I think that's why sometimes people are like, you look terrible. It's because the lighting. It depends on what time of day, how the sun is falling. So it's happening on the 24th at 1:39 p.m. Central Standard Time. That'll be 7:39 p.m. London time, and 4:39 a.m. the 25th in Sydney. And it's coming at 3 degrees and 27 minutes of Capricorn, which means that it is with the fixed star Polis, which is an awesome fixed star. That's ruled by Jupiter and Mars. So it's about like being the triumphant hero, wishes coming true, putting our ambition toward the new opportunities that we're afforded right now, but relinquishing the ties to the past is the most important. And any kind of like grudge that's been held about the contracts that you entered into where we give ourselves power away because of blame, or we have that unforgiveness in our heart. Jesus was pointing out after I talked about forgiveness in that video how people were coming forward with a plethora, he's saying, of Bible verses, but nobody quoted when he said, like, when someone asked him, how many times do we forgive? And he said, basically, you never stop forgiving. You just forgive all of it. Because the truth is that before we came into the physical body, we did agree to it. And I know that what I'm saying, and I know that's not easy to face, that we have agreed to these things. But until we do and take responsibility for our choices and forgive those things and let them go, they will be a stumbling block for us. Because Saturn is about accepting what is or what has been. Doesn't mean that you have to stay there, but there needs to be acceptance. Like, okay, this is the way it is. Now, what can I do moving forward to change that, to shift my reality? And Uranus and Taurus is teaching us that we're worthy, we're valuable. We don't need to be in relationships where we're serving the other person and we're just, forgotten about. So let's talk about the solstice first. So the ascendant, and I use universal time. The ascendant is, I know I had that chart, but the ascendant is in Gemini. And really, the astrology isn't moving, it's just a few days until that full moon. So I don't know why, but I know I had that. I don't know what happened to it, but there's a reason that happened. So It's really the charts are so close. That's probably what it is. Like no planets are changing signs in those 3 days. So the moon, of course, will just be in the beginning of Capricorn. But when we're talking about a full moon, and that is when the sun faces the moon. So the sun is in Cancer, meaning because he's in Cancer, he's answering to the moon, who is in Capricorn. So it's all coming back to Saturn. So the omega symbol for 4 degrees of Capricorn, because it's happening at 3 degrees and change with Polis, but it says, as a cliff erodes, a temple is in danger of collapsing. Needs change, and when they do, structures that may have been depended on for a long time need to change too, to meet those new needs. That is what this degree is aware of. It taps into undercurrents of feeling, Taurus, and the moon too, and can see how these are eroding the landscape of human thought. At its best, it's capable of suggesting means of change that take into account the long range and which are practical. The Chandra symbol for this degree is footprints in the snow. This degree is physically aware of energy traces that have been left both in this life and ones that linger from other lifetimes, and this would be the tie to the ancestors and our legacy kind of energy that we come in with agreements to clean up this or that for, family history's sake. The question is, shall it follow one of these or strike out on its own? It has the persistent feeling always in the back of its mind that all this has happened before, because a lot of times we're hearing from our future selves, Uranus, the highest octave of our consciousness. This feeling is present so that hopefully it may gain more awareness of why things are unfolding the way they are, and this time either work through them or overcome them so that they can be let go of, clearing the way for further growth. And then Saturn, who is ruling this moon, is at 12 degrees and change of Aquarius. So that means because he's retrograde, he's moving back to 12. So this is people, this is the Sabian symbol, people on a vast staircase graduated upwards. This shows being able to interact with others and integrate various levels of experience, life, or people, and not feel compromised by what rung or level you are in your own life. You are on in your own life. The vast staircase can show the ladder that one must climb spiritually, emotionally, and physically. Going up that staircase, one begins to feel more empowered, more accomplished, more there, more present. However, being on a lower rung may cause a feeling of compromise. Don't concern yourself with who's in front or behind. It's of little consequence. Accept your position and strive ever upwards. Trust that you and yours are heading in the right direction. It's about observing life from different points of view, social graduations, order from above, and waiting for one's turn, and promotions. So, we need to let go. It's amazing, like when I speak to people, and really it seems like people that have had the worst cases of abuse somehow are able to let that go more than someone who felt slighted. If someone's reflecting something to you that you abhor, look within yourself, because that is something that of a program that's popping up to heal from who you were in another experience, not necessarily this one. And then he's talking about timing, and that this is a time that practicing patience serves us well. We have Mars and Leo, the heart, our creative spark. And then Uranus is like being the expert and the creative genius, where we're the specialist, where we are going, where we are heading. So if we're, when we're looking to like come into our spiritual gifts, or, just wondering why we're still in an energy of lack, look at programs that you might have about resenting people who are wealthy, or there could be a belief that you need to be greedy in order to have wealth, or that when you are wealthy, it means that someone else is going without. Yeah, so letting go of all of those just man made mind constructs of having to be perfect, having to measure up in order to be blessed. And, we're really striking out on a new path. And of course, Saturn being the devil energy and the moon linked with habits, this is when it's really, and also emotional dependence too. When we can just be so afraid of being alone that we stay in a relationship that no longer, there's just no growth and no satisfaction. But we're doing it because it's the responsible thing. What will the family say? How will my decision, or he's saying the decision to set myself free, affect my loved ones? The truth is that we're all soulmates, and what is good for one, he's saying, is good for the rest of us. So, yeah. And also, he has been talking a lot about, I think I'm going to do a little write up about changing our terms of service. We're, having this Mercury retrograde right now. Of course, that's linked with contracts, but a lot of us have service contracts to be like the perfect spouse or the perfect mother, the perfect father, and we could be making a sacrifice in that way. And this is the time when those things will end. And when, like I said, the tower falling, you can either choose to be the one who is setting yourself free, leaving the sinking ship, or you can choose to stay on it. Either way, it's going to sink, right? So, and we talked about this in the last video. Metatron was talking about the same thing, that we're letting go of the past and the way that things have been, that stasis, Taurus, and moving toward the future in a way that where our heart and mind are aligned, and we can feel a sense of contentment and fulfillment. That is not boring. We can always strive for more while we feel content and satisfied. In fact, if we're discontent and unsatisfied, it doesn't serve us at all, because then there's sort of like I need to get out of here, and that doesn't work either. So, Gemini, with Mercury still being retrograde, they're being in the flow of grace and ease, being open. Taurus and Uranus and Taurus, allowing that goddess energy that everyone has, male or female, masculine or feminine, that everyone has, that we want to feel satisfied and content with ourselves and who we are, and just allow to yourself to be open to blessings flowing to you, and leaving like regret and resentment and blame behind, so that we're not blocked from that. Okay, everybody, I hope all of you are doing well, and send you so much love. Always great to connect with all of you. Happy solstice and happy full moon. Bye-bye.